Hey guys, welcome back. Listen, this is Farmer Series with Patrice Schaefer. I am just so excited about today. We are prepping the garden soil and getting ready to plant some new goodies for the spring. So stay tuned and let's see what happens. Now this is something that's very, very important. I've got my sticky notes so I can know where to plant what. But I've got this fertilizer, which is a fish and seaweed kelp fertilizer. You can get this from any hardware store. And so I'm mixing that inside of water. And why not use a stick? That just gave me trouble. I'm using that stick to mix it. Now, you guys, this stuff stinks. Okay. And I'm just using your grandma's molasses to create this high molasses fertilizer. Last year I used this. There was a brand that I was buying. They have discontinued it, or I would have definitely tagged it for you. But because they've discontinued it, I chose to just make my own. This year I've been testing it on the other plants. So I've used this inside of the potatoes and the onions and all the things that you saw all the greenery with. And so here I'm getting ready to plant some peas. So here are my seeds. All right. And I'm making sure that you're dropping at least 2 to 3 seeds per hole, just in case you get a defective seed or a bad seed. Okay. And so making sure you read the label on the back, how deep they need to be. Usually if the seed is larger, it needs to be deeper. If it's smaller, usually they go about 1/4 or maybe less into the ground. All right. So I'm planting peas there. I did start some peas, but during our transition time, I left them outside too long and they burned up. So there's that. The peas grow really fast, really easily. These are actually snap peas. And I have to upload my seed haul so you guys can see all that we have this year. All right, so here we are planting spinach right next to it. And so I'm just creating holes here. Do you see how soft this soil is? I love working with fresh soil that is soft and it's just easy to maneuver. You don't have to use your bare hands. I just prefer it. It's just easier for me to go faster instead of having to use the gloves, even though I absolutely hate when all the things are on my hands. All right, so this is where we're going to use the concoction that I made earlier. So these are the roots. I took some onions from the other container and I'm just dipping the roots into this mixture. Replanting any kind of plant that has already begun growing or already developed a root system is a traumatic experience for the plant. And so for me, I have found that it's best for me to let them soak or sit in this fertilizer just to give it a really good start. I've had plants that I've bought from the nursery or from the store that, by the time I actually got ready to put them in the ground, they didn't look as good. But once I dipped them in this mixture, they grow and they look amazing. So you want to make sure that you get those roots really deep, cover them up, and I'm making sure that I'm packing that soil so that it can support the onion as it grows. I'm probably going to come back and cut some of this green off because it's just a lot. And so I'm letting them sit in the fertilizer. Usually plants will bubble. You'll see those roots begin to bubble. And then when they stop bubbling, you just assume that the plant is done drinking the fertilizer. Oh, look there. We have a visitor in the garden. Hey, babe. Okay, back to business. So I'm putting a total of 8 new plants, new seedlings of onions rather, in this particular area. As you can see, the greenery, the green onions kind of falling all over the place. Also, you can help that by planting it deeper. But I'm going to come back and cut some of this greenery off. Looks like we have a new little helper coming out. Another thing that I'm going to use, Thaddeus is being our cameraman. He's been so good. Is blood meal. So usually I do add blood meal When I'm planting seedlings, I completely forgot that I had a new bag when I planted the onions. So I'm going to show you how that will work. But basically, here's a bell pepper that I've started, right? And so I love these biodegradable cups. You literally can just put it in the ground and it's all good. And just cover up the cup. So you don't have to worry about, unplanting or even destroying the root system that's already been established by the plant. And as you can see, this is a little bitty baby. So we're just bringing her out here to go ahead and start with the big girls. And now I'm dropping some bell pepper seeds in the ground. And so making sure, once again, you're dropping 2 to 3 seeds in each hole, just in case there is a defective seed or whatever whatever happens. As they begin to grow, and if they're, fighting for space, you can make a separation and do whatever's necessary there. Then add just enough of the fertilizer to wet the soil and put enough nutrients there for when the seed is ready to come forth. And here's Thaddeus. He's over here with our dill that has begun to flower, and we cut down our mint. So I'm going to have to move those out of the way. But Thaddeus is working in the garden after baseball. All right, here's the garden bed from last year. So I don't have to put as much nutrients into this because, like I said before, I've let the chickens go through here. They have had dust baths, they have pooped, they've done all the things to help to keep this soil, with nutrients and that kind of thing. So we just really have to use this time to break it up. And so we want to make it very soft. As you can see, it's very compact. So this is what I usually do. Again, I've started the sunflowers, and so I'm going to drop blood meal into the hole. So you create a hole for the flower or for the plant, drop a little blood meal into there, make sure it's deep enough. And then I'm going to do the exact same thing. I let it soak just for a little bit until it stopped bubbling. Right here's a better picture of that. And then I'm going to put it into the ground. Remember, there's already blood meal in there. The ground is already, filled with so many of the other nutrients. The blood meal is not for the soil, it's for the plant to give it all that it needs. And so because I have the small sunflower seed here as well, I want to make sure that we are just taking our time, making sure the soil is compact, everybody's nice and secure. Because remember, when you are moving these plants around, they are experiencing trauma. Here are wildflowers that Thaddeus started at school. So we're planting those, going through a similar process, dipping them into the fertilizer and putting them into the ground, patting and making sure that the soil is compact around the flower to support the growth. Let's get the collards, shall we? I'm not going to do the tomatoes today. They're still a little young, so I'm going to give them a little more time. But here are my collards. So I'm going to try to get as much of that dirt off the roots as I can. And then we're going to dip and plant. And again, these are babies, so you want to be as gentle as you can. There's nothing worse than starting these seedlings and then you kill them in transport. All right, and so then I'm also sowing seeds beside it, and these seeds also don't have to be as deep. And the same process again, making sure that I'm adding the fertilizer to the soil. Completely forgot about the blood meal.